It's the Grim Reaper, dude. How's it hanging, Death?
It comes for all of us, folks, and I think Trump knows that his time is near. That's why he's burying this story like he does his face in a bag of McDonald's, which is ironically how he got into this problem to begin with.
Never touches the human hand.
The first thing he did was this horrible paint job trying to cover up his bruised hand with makeup. And you know he did it himself because he obviously doesn't know how to color match. He doesn't seem to realize in the morning when he's painting his face the same color as mine, but his ears and his neck are the same color as his hand. Then in a meeting with the president of FIFA, he tried to just cover it up with his other hand, not so nonchalantly.
For the World Cup and for the Olympics, you saw the World Cup was here the other day, and come to think of it, there's your trophy.
Now, this is the point where I feel like I have to remind you what the Queen's hand looked like only 2 days before her, well, rather timely demise. And if you're wishing for the same fate for Donald Trump, then you're probably somebody who would do well in the really American community. So make sure to subscribe, drop a comment below, and let's get into it. The latest response from the White House is to bust out their crackpot doctor to come out and say that Trump is perfectly healthy. Mind you, this man, this doctor, is a representative now, so I don't know how that happened. The doctor had his medical license stripped and his military rank taken away, but they expect us to trust this quack?
I served as the appointed physician to the greatest president that this country has ever had, Donald J. Trump.
But apparently this Trump-loving White House physician that served for 14 years didn't have a valid license. When the White House was pressed by the Daily Beast about Trump's health, they issued a statement which came from Ronny Jackson. Jackson is not the current White House physician, by the way. He's just Trump's personal health goon, and the guy who said that Trump was going to live to be 200. The White House is vouching for President Donald Trump's health, using a disgraced doctor who gave up his full medical license and was stripped of his military rank after a series of scandals. Jackson was Trump's first White House physician. When Trump nominated Jackson to lead the Department of Veteran Affairs, he was forced to withdraw over allegations he handed out prescription drugs like candy, earning him the moniker Candyman. He was later stripped of his rank as a Rear Admiral of the Navy. So Mr. Handing out drugs like candy definitely doesn't seem like the kind of guy we should be trusting when it comes to health analysis.
Allow me to get you a pill. It's going to make you forget every last one of these irrational thoughts for at least 2 days.
Jackson remained a stalwart supporter of the president and bandaged Trump's ear after he was shot in Butler. He was the one that gave him the blood pack. The White House dramatically admitted in July that he had a chronic venous insufficiency after questions about his severely swollen ankles.
I know that many in the media have been speculating about bruising on the president's hand and also swelling in the president's legs. So in the effort of transparency, the president wanted me to share a note from his physician with all of you today. In recent weeks, President Trump noted mild swelling in his lower legs. In keeping with routine medical care and out of an abundance of caution, this concern was thoroughly evaluated by the White House medical unit. The president underwent a comprehensive examination, including diagnostic vascular studies. Bilateral lower extremity venous Doppler ultrasounds were performed and revealed chronic venous insufficiency, a benign and common condition.
Caroline Levitt sure was having a hard time pronouncing those big words, wasn't she? On Tuesday, the administration turned to a man who cannot legally practice medicine except in emergency circumstances for a clean bill of health. As President Trump's former personal physician, former physician to the president, and White House physician for 14 years across 3 administrations, I can tell you unequivocally, President Donald Trump is the healthiest president this nation has ever seen. Jackson said in a statement via the White House, "I continue to consult with his current physician and medical team at the White House and still spend significant time with the president. He is mentally and physically sharper than ever before." Yeah, definitely sharp.
You know, I did a favor for Christy Whitmer.
Donald Trump just called Gretchen Whitmer Christy Whitman. This is clearly a sign of cognitive decay, and if this was Joe Biden, Fox News would be running this for a week straight.
Jackson's statement was sent to the Daily Beast after they reached out for a comment on Trump's tit-for-tat words of war with J.B. Pritzker, with both men calling each other unhealthy. White House spokesperson Liz Hudson said Trump is the most active and transparent president in American history.
You talked about your weight. What's your response to the president?
Well, from my perspective, it takes one to know one on the weight question. And the president, of course, himself is not in good shape. So he ought to respond to that from me. I would say also that his personal attacks on me are just evidence of a guy who's still living in fifth grade. He's the kind of bully that throws invectives at people. And because he knows that what he's saying is actually commentary on himself.
Now, this guy, Ronny Jackson, it's incredible that he was ever elected to be a representative. But again, he's a representative in Texas, so, it's crazy here. His medical career came crashing down in the wake of his nomination for the VA in 2018. Detailed allegations regarding his behavior in the Navy and at the White House, ranging from hostility to coworkers, alcohol on the job, overprescription of medications, all of that killed his bid. In 2018, while on an overseas trip with Obama, intoxicated Jackson banged on the hotel room of a female employee loudly enough to prompt the Secret Service to stop him. Two sources said that employees are uncomfortable with Jackson's behavior. The allegations against me are completely false and fabricated, Jackson said at the time. He's got this beautiful record, unblemished, Trump said, because of course Trump can't help himself but defend an actual literal monster piece of shit con man. Controversies followed Jackson after he was elected to Congress. A 2021 Pentagon Inspector General report concluded that he made sexual and denigrating comments towards a female subordinate and abused prescription sleeping medication while on duty. He retired and then was demoted by the Navy in 2022, an exceptionally rare move where he was stripped of his star and flag status. And then in 2023, he was detained at a Texas rodeo after clashing with deputies.
Video shows Jackson approaching the group surrounding the 15-year-old, then appearing to have an argument with one of the people before that teenager is put on a stretcher. Bystanders restrained Jackson as he berated them and the officers, then lunged at a trooper. Two other officers then took Jackson to the ground, handcuffed him, and held him with his face down.
This man is literally a liability. He sounds like he's a safety to himself and others around him. So without a doubt, he must be one of Trump's best friends behind closed doors. I'm not surprised that this is the White House's go-to guy when it comes to defending Trump's clearly failing health. But I'll extend to the clearly unwell president the same sentiment I'm sure you guys are feeling. I hope you don't pull through. Make sure you're subscribed to Really American. I'm Tony Hinderman, and I'll catch you next time.